Taken. Okay, so basically, it's the latest big screen B movie from the people behind the Transporter. So it's the writer producer team. It's Luc Besson, Pierre Morel, Robert Mark Kamen. The guy who shot it is now directing. And as with so much of the product which has got Besson's name on, essentially, it is the kind of movie that used to be the second bill on a kind of junkie double bill in a drive-in, and now somehow has managed to make it into the big screen with a big name star. And the star this time is Liam Neeson, the big man, the serious actor, the guy who did, as you said, Michael Collins, of course, probably best known by some people for Schindler's List. I remember him from way back. I met him in the Corner House in Manchester when he just starred in Lamb. Had a small role as well in Prayer for the Dying, which was which he'll skip nimbly over, although his Irish accent was, of course, a lot better than Mickey Rourke's Irish accent.
He being Irish.
He being Irish and Mickey Rourke being apparently from a different planet. Although Mickey Rourke's made a new film, a wrestling film, which everyone says he's actually really good.
As long as it has nothing to do with him trying to be Irish, we'll be fine.
Yeah, no, exactly. Terrible, hideous thing. So anyway, the deal is Liam Neeson is a former sort of special forces kind of guy, and he's estranged from his wife, and he has a daughter, and the daughter wants to go to Europe, right? And he says, no, he can't go to Europe. Europe full of bad people. Europe, all stuff that happens and thing that I've been in the forces. You go to Europe and all bad things happen. And she says, no, Daddy, it's going to be fine. I'm going to go to Paris. I'm going to see some museums, but she's not going to go to Paris and see some museums. She's actually going to go to Paris and follow around a rock group. Isn't it U2?
It is.
It is U2. Yes. That was the moment at which I thought they're doing this on purpose.
She's going to Europe to follow them all the way around.
To follow you two all around, which obviously is a very, very bad thing to do. Then, by a unhappy coincidence, he is actually on the phone to his daughter at the moment that she is kidnapped by hideous foreigners, of course, of which Europe is absolutely full. And he hears his daughter on the phone, having gone to Paris and Europe, being taken off by hideous foreigners, and he issues the hideous foreigners a threatening ultimate. Well, here it is.
This is good.
I don't know who you are. I don't know what you want. If you are looking for ransom, I can tell you I don't have money. But what I do have are a very particular set of skills. Skills I've acquired over a very long career. Skills that make me a nightmare for people like you. If you let my daughter go now, that'll be the end of it. I will not look for you. I will not pursue you. But if you don't, I will look for you. I will find you. And I will kill you.
Good luck.
Slightly disconcerting to hear him so animated.
I know, yes, that's because he wasn't as animated when you. What happened when I'm sorry, I missed it. What happened? He just wasn't.
Okay, you play me, and I'll play Liam Neeson.
Okay, joined in the studio now by famous actor Liam Neeson. Liam, just saw your new action movie Taken. Tell me about the character.
Yeah.
There's lots of action and fighting in it, Liam. Did you have to bulk up for that role? And some people have worried perhaps that some of the caricatures of the foreigners in Europe, that maybe they could be seen as racist. But obviously there could be another way of looking at it. How do you feel about that, Liam?
Anyway,
well, look. I think here's the thing.
Yes, it's quite. Go on.
Look, the point is, there's not much to say. There was an interview with him in one of the broadsheets, right, in which they said, Liam Neeson would be serious.
I'll be the Guardian, because you only read the Guardian.
How do you know that?
Because you only ever quote The Guardian and Time Out. They're the only movie references that ever turn
the terrible thing is?
It was.
It's true.
Of course
it's true.
Go on.
I mean,
Nicely done by trying to disguise it by saying a broadsheet, as though you might have ever picked up the Telegraph in your life. But anyway,
I have picked up the Telegraph.
Go on.
I have. The Telegraph were nice about me once. It was about 5 years ago. Anyway, there isn't, in this broadsheet interview of an unnamed broadsheet, he was saying, it's about fathers and daughters, and it's about how far you would go, and it's about a man pushed to the very limits, and it's about, he's talking in a kind of straw, but he was talking in a straw dog's way about it, kind of the Dustin Hoffman, the quiet character who goes, it's not about that at all, right? The guy's a special forces guy, and he says to his daughter, don't go to Europe. If you go to Europe, you're going to be kidnapped by horrible foreigners. She goes to Europe. She is kidnapped by horrible foreigners, and he says, I'm going to kill you. And then he goes to Europe, and he kills everyone.
Yeah.
And he keeps killing everyone until finally, there's no one left to kill. So the point is, there really isn't much in the way of substance. The only thing there is in the way of substance is, I think it'd be completely legitimate for somebody to say, look, it is an old-fashioned racist kind of movie, in as much as everyone who isn't American is probably bad. The French, very bad. Everyone who doesn't speak the same as us, hideously bad. All those people you can't understand, boy, are they bad. And they've got boats, and they are doing weird stuff that you wouldn't even think about. Other thing is, there's a brilliant timescale in it, right? His daughter gets taken off by these bad people, and somebody says, well, traditionally, that means you've got 96 hours to get her back. The clock is ticking. Hang on, that's a figure they just made up from nowhere. But apparently nothing, it's like someone's gone, Paxi, 96 hours, if you don't catch me within 96 hours, it's fine. It's like the old American thing about, I've got to hit the Mexican border. But nobody ever says, oh, we can't, these terrorists are all sitting around, not terrorists, horrible traffickers, are all sitting around going, well, we can't do anything for 96 hours. We've got to give Lee some 96 hours to get to it. So anyway, he's running around, he goes, he meets everybody he meets, he beats up. There's some torturing. There's a lovely bit in the BBFC's classification thing. It's a 15 certificate for strong violence and scenes of torture, and they talk about the strong violence and scenes of torture, and kidnapper being electrocuted several times, which goes on for quite a long time, but is quite funny. But it says, this is lovely, the violence and torture are
that famous comedy torture
scene. The violence and torture scene are tonally strong, but they're largely conveyed by sound effects and implied action. In addition, the film also contains a crunchy scene in which a man is shown to be hit forcefully by a truck at a distance, and a muffled use of strong language. Well, the muffled use of strong language is presumably because he's got a truck in his mouth at that crunchy moment. Anyway, so what can we say about it?
Well, we can say one other point, two things to look at before you reach the denouement of what you have to say. If you go and see it, and I think it's quite fun in a Jason Statham kind of way.
Statham.
Look for the very, very first shot, okay, in which Liam Neeson opens the car door, gets out, and if you look on the street corner over to the right, there's a whole bunch of people watching the movie being made. They're not waiting to cross the road. They're watching Liam Neeson. They're going, look, there's Liam Neeson.
It's a bloke out of Schindler's List.
That's right. And
it's Michael Collins.
Speak up, Liam. They're all going, I can't hear what you're saying. And the other thing to look out for is the French copper.
Yeah.
And he's French because he's carrying a baguette.
Yes.
He's actually walking through the street.
He is. No, that's right. He walks in with a baguette.
He's got a baguette.
And
look how French I am.
And he's corrupt. He's carrying a baguette and he's corrupt.
He's a French copper.
And he can't, and he's, there's some marital issues as well. And they have a discussion over food and wine. So clearly he's in Europe. Here's my question.
Come to the denouement.
Anyone who sees the movie, right? I can't give away important plot points. I mean, I think you can pretty much fill the dots in as to how this whole thing pans out, right? He's going to kill a load of people until he gets the answer to get the thing that he wants. If you get to the end of the movie, if you go and see the movie, it's not very long, it's like 90 minutes long. Ask yourself this question. This will make sense when you see the film. Who's driving the boat? Two answers. If it's somebody, don't you need to go kill them? And if it's nobody, watch out, you're going to crash.
And another thing occurs to me.
Go on.
You've got to virtually the end of the movie when the very bad baddie, the baddiest of bad baddies,
who can't get up off the bed because he's so bad.
You're at the end of the movie because he looks like he's been drawn from Tintin. Right? He's the kind of baddie that turns up in Tintin. And then, in fact, most of the baddies look as though they're from Tintin. That's the thing that you have to remember about it.
Yeah, but it's a very interesting lesson, which is, what, jolly foreigners, really, you should stay away from them because they're bad. They're jolly bad. And actually, the way to solve all... But the thing is, it's an action B movie, right? It's doing the action B movie stuff. The only thing that's remarkable about it is that it's got Liam Neeson in it. And the only reason I can think of for him being less than vibrant in his conversation with you is, in the end, what do you say?
He'd had lunch. That's what I think he'd had lunch. He was just feeling a bit sleepy.
Well, I was feeling quite sleepy at the end of the movie, but by that point he'd killed like 20, 30 people, and he'd tortured somebody with electricity, and there'd been a crunchy scene in which a man couldn't talk because he had a mouthful of truck.